enterprises which are working in areas of gap in the agri and allied sector of Assam to support them in technical assistance. Under technical assistance, enterprises would be supported in product quality improvement, product testing, India.
Hello. to navigate life's problem without hesitating, then you are definitely cut out to be an entrepreneur. Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab is here to unleash the entrepreneur in you. We are primarily acquainted with the knowledge that agriculture plays the principal role of revenue money in Assam's economy. Therefore, to give a boost to the existing agri-enterprises of the state, Assam Agribusiness and Rural Transformation Project, that is APART, has envisioned a one-stop organic platform to provide business acceleration support to a set of selected unit of agri-enterprises. Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab, that is AAGL, is established with an aim to fill the agribusiness growth void in Assam as the state's first agribusiness acceleration program under the aegis of Assam Agribusiness and Rural Transformation Project. This program will be implemented by Center for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship, that is CIIE Co, the premier startup incubator for IIM Ahmedabad in association with Innovative Changes Collaborative Services Private Limited. Today, we have among us Mr. Shashi Gupta, Assistant Vice President, Center for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship. He is experienced in programs with a demonstrated history of working in venture capital and private equity industry. His forte lies in skills and strategy development in food, beverage, real estate, startup, acceleration, banking, collaboration solutions, and go-to-market. Now, I would like to invite you, sir, to present the welcome note.
A very warm welcome to the audience joining us here today and also to the audience that are joining us virtually. Thank you for the patience that you have kept, and I hope that you get to learn more about the program here today. It's my privilege to also welcome our special guests and speakers today, including Mr. Vinod Sashi, IAS and SPD for Arya Society. We have Mr. Ale Bara with us. Ale is the director for ECO. And online, we've been joined by Mr. Chintan Bakshi and Mr. Himendra Mathur. Chintan is the partner for CIO, and Himendra Mathur is the venture partner for Bharat Innovation Fund, which is a venture capitalist fund of $100 million. We are here today for the launch of Agribusiness, a program to support enterprises working in the agri and allied sectors in the state of Assam. The program is being launched by APART, and CIO and ECO are the implementing bodies for the program. As part of the APART project, the program is here to support 100 scalable enterprises in the duration of 4 years, which typically means that the program will support 25 entrepreneurs each year for the duration of the project. And from these 25 entrepreneurs, we have also kept a target that we will be supporting at least 30% of women entrepreneurs in the state as well. The program also envisions that the entrepreneurial ventures and activities of Assam. With me, I think here today are all the members who are actually playing a key role in the agriculture sector in Assam. As the team leader for the project, I would hope that each one of you, support the program in the years to come, and definitely we can find some collaborations happening with each one of you. For the entrepreneurs that are here today and who are joining virtually with us today, this is an excellent opportunity for you to grow, for you to nourish in the ecosystem, and to bring about a change in the agri sector that is much required, and an intervention from the entrepreneurs which is also required. I welcome you all today, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing the valuable information. Now, I would like to request Chintan Bakshi from CIIE Co to speak about how CIIE Co is shaping the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the country and the partnership with APART.
Good morning, everyone. Just a quick sound check. Hope I'm audible. Hello. Am I audible? Okay, let me start. So good morning, everyone. And very my pleasure being part of this momentous occasion where we are launching the APART project to incubate 100 agri enterprises. Something about CICO. So CICO, as my colleague Shashi mentioned, is the incubation center at IIM Ahmedabad, while CI.co is our domain name, but co also stands for continuum. So we are like the incubation startup continuum. We start with supporting startups at very early stages, and that's the vertical that I am responsible for. We call it the CICO Nest, where we work with regional partners. We are working very actively in Rajasthan, Gujarat, now, of course, Assam, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, some of these states with local partners and working with early stage entrepreneurs, supporting them in various ways. So that's the continuum. And we start with incubation. We also have a separate division, strategic business unit, which focuses on seed funding and acceleration. We then have an entire team around insights and research, given that we are part of IIM Ahmedabad. So research is a very critical component. We are, in fact, in the cutting edge of on thought leadership around startups, innovations, all the learning which is coming up in significant quantities right now. And finally, we have venture funds, and my colleague Hamendra is also part of this this session. So where we invest in startups as a venture capital fund would do. So something about our experience, specifically from the Nest SBU, where we are working in regions. We have worked with close to 350 enterprises, largely from these 4 or 5 states that I talked about. We also have significant domain expertise, or we have gained significant domain expertise on some sectors which are predominant in these regions. Agri, food is obviously one of them. Craft-based startups and enterprises is another one of them. We have actually been doing some 2 or 3 very interesting programs to support women entrepreneurs. So we have been able to develop a lot of processes, systems, approaches to support early stage women entrepreneurs in Rajasthan with significant successes. So I think personally, I'm very excited that, given the larger IIM Ahmedabad knowledge base, given the experience we have had across the continuum, and given the deep experience that my team, which includes Shashi and some of our other colleagues, have gained by working with early stage businesses, startups, social enterprises, women entrepreneurs in the regions. And that is something which makes us very unique, but there'll be very few organizations in India which have that level of deep experience. So I think I am very excited, that this project is formally now getting launched. And we are hoping to onboard the first set of 25 agri businesses very soon. And our processes, I think we are planning to basically take them through these time-tested processes, and I think we'll see some successes this year onwards. And since it's a 4-year program, I think the impact of this will be visible as we go from year to year. So again, thank you very much for having me here. Of course, due to the pandemic, I could not be there physically, but hopefully, very soon I'll probably be able to interact in person, and we'll have many such sessions, especially when the entrepreneurs get onboarded. So yeah, I think wishing the project, wishing all of us all the best, and hoping to do some great work in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such an inspiring talk. I would also like to call Mr. Alay Barua, Executive Director, ICCSPL, to provide a brief introduction about ICCSPL and how the organization is parenting with CIIE Co and bringing local knowledge as a key component to the initiative.
morning, everyone. Thank you for having me in this meet. Stakeholder director, all participants, other dignitaries, officials from government department, ladies and gentlemen. It's really be part of this launching program for Assam Agribusiness Lab. Not only because as an organization we are involved in this program as a implementing partner with CIA and but also I think we had that when this project was conceived by World Bank and there were different consultations and we were involved in those consultations. I think today it's a reality. So we recommended that apart from other components of the projects, promoting agribusiness entrepreneurs should be also a program that these apart projects could address, and I think that has happened. So obviously because of the pandemic and other challenges, it has been delayed. But I think today onwards it will get momentum, and we are very excited about it. Few lines about ECO. Those who do not know us, we are a value-driven social development organization working towards achieving two core principles: securing sustainable livelihood, justice and dignity for all. What we do? We have programs on agriculture value chain, and we also do promoting social enterprises, and that includes agri-enterprises as well. We work on clean energy, and the fourth thematic that we work is on responsible business. And the responsible business will basically work on responsible sourcing. Our focus group is always smallholder farmers, youth, women, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other disadvantaged groups. In terms of geographic area, we work in 11 districts of Assam. We work on all the 4 districts of BTR area, that is Kokrajhar, Udalguri, Baksa, and Sirang. In fact, there we are promoting social entrepreneurship for last 2 years, and this year we have selected 50 village entrepreneurs to make them agri-entrepreneurs, and hopefully they would be also a pipeline for a part agri-business lab program a couple of years or 3 years from now. We are aligned with the Sustainable Development Goal 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, and 12. So that's about no poverty, zero hunger, gender equity, and decent work and economic growth, affordable and clean energy. So these are our sustainable development goals that we align with our work. Our experience and expertise has been mostly working with public-private partnership. We are also currently resource organization for Assam State Rural Livelihood Mission as well as for Odisha Livelihood Mission. In fact, in Odisha, we have been asked to convert one district called Kanmahal into a complete organic district and promote about 1,700 Odisha group all over Odisha by Odisha government. So a team has been deployed and they are working on that. So what have we done so far? I think in the last 10 years or so, we have impacted more than 70,000 households, very poor households, as I said, small and marginal farmers, resource poor, who depend their livelihood on agriculture and allied activities and do handicraft. We have also empowered women and trained a lot of farmers and provided them best practices for agriculture, value addition, and of course market linkage. How do we work? As the name stands, we believe in innovative thinking, collaborative approach, and that is how we work with a lot of stakeholders. So our stakeholders includes government, private sector, public sector, academic institutions, technical institutions, industry associations, and many international partners as well. So we have about more than 135 partners cutting across all these different stakeholders that I mentioned. So that helps us to collectively solve problems, specifically in agriculture and allied activities, which is a very complex. subject. So what we bring in as a partner, as a co-implementer of CII, as I said that we have been working in Assam for the last 10 years. We know the terrain, we know the different stakeholders. We kind of work, we have been working with youth, we have been working with agri-entrepreneurs. In fact, 2015-16, we started a concept called Green Business Challenge. I think I would not be exaggerating if we say ICO was one of the pioneering organizations in promoting startup in Assam and Northeast. Of course, later on then other startup, other impact investors started coming in, but we took the lead there. So I think we are very happy to be part of these to share our knowledge and experience. Also, I think we have experience in promoting entrepreneurship. We have brought investment for entrepreneurs, those who have started their work maybe a few years back. So there will be good learnings from those entrepreneurs for the entrepreneurs that we are going to scout next 4 years. And apart from that, I think the network that we have of various institutions, for example, we have existing partnership with Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, IIT Guwahati, Soviet University, Wageningen University, Netherlands, Espoo University, Northeast Institute of Science and Technology. So we have brought together various players who would also bring solutions to the problems some of the agri-entrepreneurs would face. So with that, I would like to stop. And of course, I think we have been also a breeding ground for many of the apart service providers. I can see many of our ex-colleagues sitting here. So I am very happy that ICO has been contributing to even human resource solution to various service providers. So that's very unique, I think. So with that note, I would once again welcome you to this event. And wish that all of you would actually provide your support and make this program a successful one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We hope that this partnership opens new roads of success for the promising entrepreneurs of Assam. Now, I would like to announce the lighting of the ceremonial lamp by our esteemed guests on the dais, followed by felicitation of our guests. May I now request Rimi Fukan ma'am to come and felicitate our honorable guest, Sri Vinod Sesha, Secretary, Department of Agriculture. May I now request Ms. Bhaswati Bora to come and felicitate our esteemed guest, Alay Barua, Executive Director, ICC SPA. May I now request Ms. Tanisha Gogol to come and felicitate our esteemed guest, Sashi Gupta, Assistant Vice President of Center for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship. Now, I would also like to request Mona Lisa Mushahari to come and felicitate Manas Kalita, founder of PICG. Now, I would like to request Nandita Das to come and felicitate Dr. Priyanshu Manav Sharma, founder of Indotech Agribusiness. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to take the honor to introduce our government dignitaries on the dais. Sri Vinod Session, IAS, is the Secretary to Agriculture Department, Assam. After serving as a Secretary and Additional Chief Electoral Officer to the Government of Assam, Department of Election, recently he took charge as the Secretary to the Agriculture Department, Assam. He is also handling the additional charges of Director, Department of Agriculture, State Project Director of Agri Society, Assam. Today, we have gathered here for the launch of Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab, an APART initiative to boost agri-enterprises in the state. For the same, I would like to request Sir Vinod Session Sir to formally launch the program.
Good morning, everybody. Chintan from Miami, Shashi, Amrit, all stakeholders from Assam Agriculture University, various organizations, international organizations, and friends. It's a pleasure to be here at the launch of it. As already outlined, the purpose of the entire effort is to promote agri-horti enterprises. As we all know that industrial development in northeastern region in India has not been great, but there has been a consistent effort to promote industries in the northeastern region in the last couple of years. The big point was, I think, Advantage Assam, which brought a lot of light on how Assam is becoming more business friendly. The launch of dedicated statutory tool for the ease of doing business act for Assam, and digitizing applications using that has been another remarkable effort, I would say, by the State Department. So most of the G2B services are now being transformed onto the OTB mode. Having said all that, industries face a lot of challenges. And most important challenge for new coming industries into Assam is land, followed by power, followed by different kinds of access facilities, raw materials, labor-related issues, and of course, things related to compliances on taxes and procedures from the State Department. Now, this is all related to existing industries or ones who have a strong financial background. Here we are there today to speak exclusively about startups, and in startups, exclusively about agri-horti startups. So we are narrowing down from the industry, probably an inverted pyramid, I would say, of a larger industry to a smaller industry at the Assam level, and there into startups, and further into startups, we're drilling down into agri-startups alone. So it is quite a challenging effort for startups itself to function in India. Not most startups are able to convert their business plans into reality. In that, focusing on agri-startups is going to be a challenge. So we have with us this organization who has created this launch today, and we've got the name Assam Agribusiness Growth Labs. So the ambition is, as Sashi rightly said, 100 enterprises over the next 4 years, and ensure that these enterprises are able to get all the necessary business, financial, procedural support, compliance support from all the respective stakeholders. Or in a simple word, we say that they get the complete support of the prevailing economic ecosystem, and at the same time empower them and enable them, train them, build skills in them to ensure that they are able to survive in this ecosystem. That's our ambition, isn't it? So we know that during our initial surveys which we did, about 1700 startups do exist in Assam, and these 1700 startups are in various phases of their business plan implementations. The Arias project which we have has two, I would say, two different perspectives of implementation. You could even coin it as a left hand and a right hand, but not like one is better than each other or both, one is lesser than each other, both are equal. The left hand is about production and at the field level. The right hand is about enterprise development and marketing. So for production, we use something called producer companies, and for marketing, we use something called industry associations. So what are industry associations? So industry associations are set up using existing industries, but in Assam terms, I would call most of these existing industries as some form of a startup, probably at a later stage, not an early stage startup, probably a later stage startup. And they've come together to form an association of industries in each district. So we have 18 industry associations. And most of these associations have become functional. They have began operating, but they are not generating any major cash flows, but they have started functioning as per the mandate. Now, the industry associations will sit together, draw the business plan. These plans are called Agribusiness Cluster Industry Development Plans, and they come up with common facilities required for the industries in their particular area of operation. Many of these common facility centers are again startups. Now, there are also existing startups in every district which are struggling for funds, which are struggling for direction, which are struggling for some kind of subsidy, which are struggling for some kind of transportation support, which are struggling for some kind of barriers in trade. They are probably struggling for some form of embargo in export. Quite a lot of issues are there related to startups. Now, industry associations are supposed to discuss all this. They're supposed to present proposals to the government as a representative for all the local industry associations. Now, like this, we have a lot of industry associations everywhere. We cannot train, empower, enable, build skills into each one of them. But we can definitely screen them, filter them, and identify 100 among them at the rate of 25 per year and handhold completely. These 25 enterprises we can handhold completely and ensure that they come to a strong level where they are able to fly on their own. They just don't fall off when our support is removed. So that's what is our ambition. We want to empower them and bring them to a level where they can sustain on their own. A lot of our efforts, often in the government, often by private sector also, often by industry associations also, are very, very noble. But somewhere all of us, after a point of time when we withdraw, the effort is is seen half-hearted, because the institution or the effort which we created, the product which we created is unable to sustain on its own after that. A lot of companies close. I have often read that startups have a success rate of only 20%, 80% of startups fail. Farmer producer companies are nothing but startups. We are setting up 125 farmer producer companies. They have a 64% mortality. That is 34% only survive. And only 20% of the 34% make successful cash flows. So how many of our startups are able to make cash flows? When can they break even? Whether the cash flows are net positive over a period of 5 years, whether their investment is going to give any returns, whether their interest rates which they are being charged from various banks, are they reasonable? Are they having a business plan which is first of all viable? If it's viable, how long it is going to take for them to recover their at least their operational expenses, then how much it will take for them to recover their capital expenses, whether they can pay salaries, or are they going to be an organization who are going to keep knocking at the doors of the government saying, "Mujhe paisa de do." So we don't want such organizations, and that should not be the eventual goal also. So we want to create organizations which can sustain on their own and don't depend on anybody, and rather become a service provider to the government. From the government also, we need to create policies which enable local industries to survive, and they have some kind of preferential treatment as far as participation in bidding is concerned if it is manufactured within Assam. We can't make an overall concession, but there is a possibility. So we need to explore that. Industry department also has a startup policy of its own. Maybe we'll have to relook at it if there is a need, because such policies require revision every 2 years. There needs to be a dedicated acceleration program, which we do not have in Assam as of now. The government of Assam had set up an organization called NEST, which is startup, which is doing good work. But then I think for agri-horti, there is a need for a dedicated growth hub, and that's something this growth lab, I'm sure, is going to play an important role there. We have set up something called the Guwahati Biotech Park. The Guwahati Biotech Park has set up a huge infrastructure facility. It's called the Incubation Center. In terms of pure construction, is going to be the largest incubation center in India as of now. But I'm told that there are a couple of others who are constructing, but it's more than 100,000 square feet of construction. So we want to use that space to ensure that a lot of startups come from different parts of Assam and use that space, get a common research environment there, but they just go to research, they're able to come out with products there. We also want to see through that universities become centers of not just excellence in research, become centers of excellence in commercial production. They're able to transform their research into a commercial quality product and thereafter hand over technology to a private company or some company on a technology transfer basis and raise, multiple production or assembly lines out of it, and also have a stream of revenue for the university for the further research. So such kind of relationship we need to build with universities, and we need to ensure that university students are not just reading the books or writing exams and having very limited field experience. We need to convert research experience into industrial experience, industrial experience that is useful for the people of Assam and is able to touch lives in action and not just in project proposals alone. So these are all the various thoughts with which the project, while having the production side and the enterprise side, decided that while we can provide equity support under a facility called Agribusiness Investment Fund for selected existing enterprises, we also need to provide acceleration support, incubation support, business development plan support, and some form of financial support, searching, kind of a pitching and then supporting them with some kind of a work, organizing pitching camps and all that. So that kind of effort we need to do for startups. So that's the goal with which the Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab is being launched today. I am very confident that they will do very well because I've seen the team. I have no doubts that the team is going to do very well. I would urge the team to start looking at FPCs also, because that's the vision with the three farm laws which are there. We need to have farmer producer companies converting themselves into startups, farmers becoming equity holders, and the farmers can really do wonderful job. That's something which they need to see. And they need to understand the nuances of how a company is run, how they will have to market the products. They need to produce as per the market demand. Can your 25 companies per year consist of 3 or 4 farmer producer companies out of 25. Is it possible? You can explore that. Private companies are always easier to manage because it's a group of 3-4 people, and if there are some people there who are good at work, who are sincerely interested, the likelihood of success improves. Farmer producer companies, it is not very easy because farmers do not come with business skills, but they come with production skills. So using the production skills and trying to convert those production skills into production for the market is where the challenge is. Then having marketing agencies or procurement agencies to link up with the farmer producer companies and buy that and produce. Assam is largely known for piggery. Assam is known for a lot of poultry. Assam is known for a lot of milk production. But then, despite being renowned, we have suffered African swine fever, and piggery has taken a serious hit. A lot of piggery farmers have suffered. Poultry is very promising, but has not taken commercial scales. Milk production is very good, but is very, very disorganized and largely because of the non-formal chain or informal chain. 85-90% of this is informal chain. We have very limited. We claim to be 10% of the formal chain, but I think it's only 5%. So maybe 95% is the informal chain. So milk is again a popular area where we have not been able to have an organized market. So these are all the areas where there is strong opportunity. The vision of Government of India is to convert Northeast into an organic hub. So can we set up organic villages here, and can we have small organic support enterprises emerging? So that's also another area where we can work. There is a lot of appliances, industry appliances which comes from outside. So can those industrial appliances be set up here for agriculture? Farm machinery repair centers, production centers for assembly lines, on parts. It is available. We've got a lot of these things come from outside. Can we have those farm machinery repair centers set up for some kind of production assembly line? All spare parts we set up here. These are all part of agribusiness hub. We can do quite a lot of work on cold chain. Assam has a lot of cold chain issues. The problem with cold chain in Assam is that we do not have volumes, however. So often we see newspapers carrying reports of Assam products being exported. But it feels good, but you don't see that every day. You don't see that every week. You don't see that every month. You see it once in a while. Which is an indication that we have the potential to export, but we don't have the volume to do it consistently. Or rather, there is a volume which is not being organized and captured to deliver the export consistently. So we need farmer producer companies to come together and get the volumes captured so that we are able to export and at export quality levels. I am going to visit a natural banana ripening center which we have set up under the APART project after my visit here. So that's going to be one of the efforts towards making export contribution. So we need to do that for every commodity. We have a lot of pineapples in Assam. We have a lot of oranges in Assam. A lot of orchards in Assam have not been utilized. A lot of seed farms have not been utilized. A lot can be done if we start digging deeper into the agriculture sector or the horticulture sector. Agriculture and allied activities is defined in simple terms as consisting of agriculture, horticulture, fishery, sericulture, animal husbandry, veterinary, poultry, egg production. You can have handlooms. So quite a lot of such activities are there, and each of these departments are in desperate need of reform. There is serious paralysis, and there is a need for serious interventions. I would define government functions in 3 simple words. One is called policy, one is called implementation, and another is called control. So if you take agriculture policy, is what the agriculture policy has. Implementation is about implementing flagship programs like APART, RKVY, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, Fasal Bima Yojana, or the Food Security Mission, for example. And control is about licensing fertilizers, licensing pesticides, licensing fungicides, licensing seeds. It's about regulation and control to ensure that quality is maintained. So government is only about these three things: policy, implementation, control. Now, these are the three areas where these agriculture and allied areas really need to come together, and there's a desperate need for reform. We need seed companies to come. There are 13 startup seed companies in Assam. An absolute real groundwork for this growth lab to see if you can start funding them, whether they deserve funding, whether they have the credibility, whether they have the integrity to deserve funding, whether they have the integrity to deserve business support, who are their promoters. Start from the fundamentals, whether they're really registered as a company or they're just having, some registrations as a society. I'm a strong believer that societies don't succeed. Very strong believer that societies don't succeed. I feel that producer companies are more transparent, and producer companies give an opportunity for every stakeholder to ask questions. But societies can suppress them, and societies can really make a lot of mess. So we have to take it as an urge to, promote more companies. So these are all hundreds and hundreds of thoughts which come in as I speak here, related to startups. I had a small stint in biotech park before joining in the World Bank project. So I've seen how startups struggle there. It's largely a confusion between doing more research and doing more commercial growth. So I see that some startups are very good. They're very sure that we've got this business plan, we have this product, we're going to do and set up this. But some startups are confused. They're saying we're not happy with it. We want to do further research. So research happens in the laboratories, but startups have to classify themselves as one which have got some kind of proof of concept. They have a product and they want to test it out in the market. So if they continue to do research, they are not to be paneled as a startup. So there is this big confusion everywhere. It's not just in Assam, it's every state of India. I'm sure it's there in every country in the world. That's where, technology transfer grants come in play. Many departments, the government of Assam, government of India help in providing the technology transfer grant. If you have a product, we're ready to give a grant to a company which is ready to buy that technology from that particular inventor and pay the inventor a compensation or a royalty over a period of time. So these are all things which will be under the ambit of the growth lab. Growth lab needs to look at policy, look at implementation, look at control, and see how they work with agriculture and allied departments, how they work with the industry department, how they work with science and technology department, government of Assam, how they work with the Assam Agriculture University, how they work with Guwahati University, how they work with maybe IIT Guwahati, how they work with a lot of local colleges, how they work with local entrepreneurs who either not had any access to college or don't want access to formal systems, but they are entrepreneurs on their own right and they've been doing extremely good work. There are many entrepreneurs who promote indigenous products of Assam, like we have moga, we have bamboo, we have Ujjalokya, we have certain things like lychee, quite a lot of ginger, for which we have geographical indicators, but have we been able to commercialize them into products? So these are things which I'm sure that the growth lab is going to consider and work out modalities. I would urge them to have an action plan. Don't have a very, very ambitious action plan. Start small, but start in such a way that you're able to achieve the goals very, very easily. Because it's easy to get lost in the mind and then realize that you've not achieved anything. Often we do such kind of initiatives. But I would urge you to start small. Target very, very simply what we do. There are existing startups which have probably done very well or have a very good business plan, but they don't have the finance, or have been able to do well, but they don't have a growth plan. So maybe these are things which are low-hanging fruits for year one. And as you do start associating with them, you can start identifying more startups which are existing. That would be probably a year two plan for you. And work with the industry associations and whatever support you need from a part project, please do ask. Don't work as you are under the contract. So the contract is only an agreement between us and you to ensure that you are onboarded and you're able to. So your boundaries are not limited to the contract. Your boundaries are limited to the state of Assam. So do something which can really help the state of Assam. And if you feel that something is desperately needed, but your contract forbids you from doing it, ask for an amendment and we'll get it done. Right? So that's what I would like to convey. So I would stop at this, and again wish the Growth Lab the best from our side, and wish all the stakeholders the best from our side, and assure all of you that we would give all support to ensure that the Growth Lab succeeds. The university, Assam Agriculture University, I had a meeting with the Vice Chancellor, and I am told the university has taken a goal to become among the top 10 agriculture universities in Asia. So that's a new goal which the university wants to form. So that goal requires the university to set up great IT infrastructure, great incubation infrastructure, and great student classrooms and great post-learning materials. So all these requires to be transformed. So maybe the Growth Lab can start looking at those kind of things also. There's something which can be done, and set up student startup centers in the university. So I think we can go on and on. So thank you so much and have a very good day. Those who are online, I wish him also, and I am grateful to Chintan was online, right? Grateful to Chintan also for speech. Honestly, we couldn't hear you very, very clearly, but I am looking forward to having a chat with you, Chintan, later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Your thoughts were inspiring and enriching. Now, I would like to request to play the launch video.
CII Eco, a startup incubator of IIM Ahmedabad, has been appointed under the Assam Agri and Rural Transformation Project, a part to support agri and allied enterprises in Assam through Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab Incubation Program. The program would support 25 enterprises each year and 100 enterprises in total during the duration of 4 years. CII Eco has partnered with ECO, a not-for-profit organization working in Assam and the Northeast in the social and agri sector in order to strengthen regional competencies and identify the right set of entrepreneurs for the program. Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab is an 8-month extensive program focused on closely working with enterprises which are working in areas of gap in the agri and allied sector of Assam to support them in technical assistance. Under technical assistance, enterprises would be supported in product quality improvement, product testing, assistance in packaging and labeling solutions, improvement in production processes, and much more. New product development. Enterprises would be provided assistance from experts, access to labs for sampling, vendor connects for purchasing raw materials, and other assisting to niche services. Implementing assistive technology and machinery. The program would help enterprises identify and implement new tools, hardware, machinery, platforms for better production, packaging, and external communication with customers. Statutory compliances. Enterprises would be assisted in licensing, government approvals, testing and certifications, introducing financial tools, legal and tax compliances. Access to finance. Enterprises would be supported in preparation of DPRs and connected to organizations for acquiring capital through government grant schemes, banking finance and equity funds from angel and VC investors. Focus areas. CII Eco would extensively work with the enterprises to identify challenges in the company and assisting in finding solutions for these challenges during the program. If you are an existing enterprise or startup in the agri and allied sector working in some of the areas of food processing, innovation in farm production, providing input products and services to farmers, aggregating farm equipment and machinery, working in logistics and supply chain for farm produce and processed food, providing market linkage to farmers or micro enterprises, building technology which helps agri value chain, or have any other product or service in the agri or allied sector which is not covered. Do visit our website to know more about the program, timelines and eligibility criteria to apply. Let's work together to achieve more.
We are hopeful that Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab will definitely unleash a good number of entrepreneurs in Assam. Thank you. Now, as a guest speaker, we also have with us Mr. Hemendra Mathur, who is a venture partner at Bharat Innovation Fund. He has a long-term experience in venture capital, private equity, investment banking in India, South Asia, Europe, and USA, and consulting in food, agribusiness, retail, consumer good industry, for corporates, as well as the government of India. At present, he is working as venture partner with a deep tech sector agnostic fund called Bharat Innovation Fund and the chairman of Task Force on Agri-Startups at FICCI. I invite you, sir, to share your opinion on how the agri and the allied sector is shaping up in India, reflecting from an investor's perspective.
Thank you and good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, Hemendra.
Okay, thank you. So very good afternoon to all of you, Sri Session and all the esteemed guests sitting on the dais, my colleagues from CIICO, all the participants who are there in the room and those who are online. I congratulate the entire team on the launch of this very, very important initiative called AAGL. And I think it's much required in the state of Assam. And I'm happy to share my experience in the agri-tech ecosystem. I've spent more than 10 years in the agri-tech ecosystem, so it's really a privilege to be part of this program. So let me just give you some idea on how agri-tech is progressing across India. We have more than about 1,000 plus agri-tech startups in the Indian agri-tech ecosystem. This number was, I would say, less than 100 in 2015. So in last 5 years, we have seen a sudden jump in the number of startups who are looking at agriculture and food as one of the target sectors. And I would say more than the numbers, it is the quality of startups. We see very, very high quality teams, very smart entrepreneurs with a lot of tech background coming into the agriculture sector. Most of them don't even have an experience or a degree in agriculture, but they know what the problem areas are, what the pain point what the pain points are, and how to solve those challenges for the value chain players and for the farmers with the use of technology. And that's why we have seen a huge momentum in the whole agri-tech ecosystem in the last 4 to 5 years. Also, from an investment perspective, I can say that it was one of those sectors where investors saw more risk than opportunities, but that's also changing for good. On an average, for last 3 to 4 years, we are receiving something like $400 to $500 million per annum capital from venture capital funds who are investing into this sector. And I'm very confident that number is going to go to something like $1 billion per annum in very near future, as we see more and more investors joining who are looking to invest in the sector. So if you ask me to, if you look at the future, I'm very confident in this decade between 2021 to 2030, the number of agri-tech startups will definitely move from 1,000 to 10,000. That is what I feel very confident about. And I'm very sure in terms of the private investment alone, this number could be as high as $10 billion in next 10 years. Some very interesting facts about agri-tech startups. Mr. Session mentioned about the high mortality rate in startup, which is very true. But I can tell you, sir, that as far as agri-tech is concerned, the number is reverse. The mortality rate is less than 20%, and almost 80% startups have survived. So I think that is really a remarkable data point. And the reason for that is that a lot of agri-tech startups have a very frugal mindset. They are not putting in money in promotions, in customer acquisition, in farmer acquisition, and they've adopted very innovative approaches to reach out to farmers. And the idea is to create value, not to attract customers and farmers on the basis of discounts and promotions. So I think that is very unique about the agri-tech startup that I've seen in the country. Having said that, I would also confess that most of the agri-tech startups are concentrated in certain geographies, especially Southern India and Western India. If you look at the agri-tech hubs in the country, Bangalore is definitely one of them, with almost 70-80% startups either having their head offices or their tech teams sitting out of Bangalore. And other places are like include Pune, Hyderabad, Delhi. So I think it's essentially a metro-centric phenomena. Though a lot of them work in the rural areas, but these are the places where we see most of the startups located, and targeting farmers more in the, I would say, southern and western India. I think that is one change we want to see. And I can tell you, at least from my experience in last couple of years, I'm seeing very good momentum in startups looking at states like Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, which were not really the target markets for a lot of these startups. And that's where I see a huge role for a program like AAGL to build that ecosystem in Assam and hopefully have a multiplier effect on other northeastern states. And this target of 100 is definitely achievable. I would like to add one more point. Of course, we should promote at least 100 startups as part of this program in Assam, but we should also target to get at least 100 startups which are already operational in other parts of the country to get into Assam. And I think they will be very delighted, because it's a very large state. It's a large market. And as Mr. Session mentioned, that Assam has a lot of strengths in certain value chains, particularly in horticulture, poultry, organic foods. So we should also create a mechanism to make it easy for startups from other states to come into Assam. Essentially, they need support in facilitation, like linking with FPOs, linking with local organizations, NGOs, village level entrepreneurs, agriculture universities, institutions like IIT Guwahati. Sir mentioned about biotech park. So I think, and I can tell you, not many of them are looking for money. Not many of them are looking for financial assistance. They are essentially looking for facilitation. So as part of this program, if we can also look at the option of facilitation center for startups coming in Assam and for startups coming from outside Assam into Assam to facilitate these linkages, I think that will be a very, very important step to give fillip to the agri-tech ecosystem in the state of Assam. I would also like to touch upon a few themes which Indian agri-tech entrepreneurs are trying to, which Indian agri-tech entrepreneurs are focusing on. I think first and foremost, I would say the whole challenge of market linkages. We know that Indian agricultural supply chain is long, complicated. There are about 7 to 12 intermediaries between the farmer and the consumer. So I think one of the key themes which a lot of agri-tech startups are pursuing, how to make this supply chain from farmer to consumer more efficient, transparent, traceable, and demand-driven. And that's where we see a lot of application of technology in aggregating demand, in quality assaying, in ensuring food safety, in ensuring farmer payment within 24 to 48 hours. And that's where we have seen a lot of startups. I'm sure some of you must have heard of names like Veku, Ninja Cart, Dehat. I think they've done a phenomenal job in totally disrupting the conventional agricultural supply chain and make them very, very efficient. So I think this is definitely one of the themes which I'm sure startups coming out of Assam would also like to pursue. I think second theme, which has picked up quite a bit, is around enabling access of quality agricultural inputs to farmers, which include seeds, fertilizer, agrochemicals, machinery. And it's essentially the value proposition for the farmers is to get the right input at the right price at the right time. Because timing is also very critical in agriculture. If you miss sowing seeds by a week, you may lose the season, right? So I think this phenomenal work done by startups like AgroStar, Big Heart, Gramophone, Behtar Zindagi. There are probably more than 24 such startups who are trying to build value chains for addressing farmer needs. And essentially, we have seen that farmers benefit a lot. They typically get much wider choice of input products vis-a-vis the conventional channels. They get good servicing. They get genuine products. As you would know, a lot of agri inputs sold in India, unfortunately, are spurious or adulterated. So I think that is another very interesting theme. And we should look at promoting such startups who are building these value chains. And it does involve a role of technology in building data and advisory for the farmer. There's always a challenge to build the last mile logistics for farmers. Unlike urban areas where we see a lot of startups coming on the doorstep delivery, we don't see that ecosystem in rural areas. You know, sometimes your Google Maps, your GPS also don't work in many parts of the rural areas. So it's still a challenge, but I think that is changing for good. So I think that is another important theme. Third theme, which also has many agri-tech startups involved, is around building data and advisory products for farmers. And this includes a combination of hardware and software tools. Hardware could be your drones, your IoT devices, sensors, spectrometers, images coming from the satellites. I think there's a huge application of satellite imagery in agriculture. But I would say the real secret sauce for the startup is not the hardware part, it is the software part. You know, what we call algorithms developed through machine learning, artificial intelligence, to build products and decision-making tools, not just for farmers, but for the entire value chain. For example, on yield estimation, in detecting crops from satellite imagery, in detecting farm boundaries, in estimating soil moisture, in estimating soil nutritional profile, how much NPK and other micronutrients are there in the soil, in figuring out the grades of the commodities using image processing. So I think some fantastic applications we have seen essentially around using different digital tools. And most of these tools are affordable, portable, and can provide very accurate data in no time. And that's why we see huge application of these data, not just for the farmers, but also for banks, financial institutions, insurance companies, food processing companies, agri-input companies. I think all of them are now looking at the data generated by some of these products and services provided by the startup. I think that's also a very extremely important area of focus for agri-tech. Another area which is kind of evolving, I call it agri-fintech, which is enabling access of institutional credit for farmers. You know, as we all know, the government of India has a very large target for PSL lending under agriculture. The finance minister announced a target for 16.5 lakh crores for the current financial year as PSL lending for agriculture. But the fact of the matter is that only 30% of farmers have access to institutional credit. And the balance 70%, mostly small and marginal, borrow at exorbitant rates from informal sources, varying somewhere between 3% per month to something like even 10% per month. Just imagine which industry in the world can make money if the cost of capital is so high. And that's where I see a role for intersection of agri-tech and fintech, where we enable access of institutional credit. Like PSL lending rate is typically 7%. If you pay early, it can be even 4%. So how can we enable access of institutional credit to small and marginal farmers? And again, fortunately, because of this whole data revolution, we have multiple data points which can help banks in doing farmer KYC, in getting the documents online, in assessing the risk, in credit scoring of farmers, in mitigating risk, in monitoring risk, and also all the way to loan recovery. And I'm fortunately seeing a lot of interest even from large public sector banks and private sector banks to move away from conventional branch banking to innovative banking, using some of these solutions where the data capture is very fast. The transactional cost of reaching out to farmer comes down significantly. If you're giving a loan of 30,000 rupees to farmer for buying inputs, you don't want to incur a cost of 5,000 or 10,000 rupees, right? That's what makes the whole lending very difficult for banks and NBFCs. We need to bring it down. And I'm very confident with these innovations that transactional cost of servicing farmer, of onboarding farmer, of recovering loans can be brought down significantly. So I think that's very important theme. I would also touch upon few other themes like controlled agriculture that's picking up. Controlled agriculture typically mean cultivation under polyhouses, greenhouses, use of hydroponics, aquaponics, vertical farming. I think this has really picked up after COVID, where we see the value in creating hyper local supply chain, and that's where some of these models are doing extremely well. Some mention about elite sectors. I think that's extremely important. Areas like poultry, dairy, fisheries, aqua. Unfortunately, the number of startups in these elite sectors is still very small. Out of 1,000 plus startups, I would say not even 100 startups are looking at elite sector, which is a huge opportunity area. We are seeing a lot of digital application in these areas also, in monitoring animal health, in detecting diseases, in dairy, in managing lactation management, in improving artificial insemination services. So there are multiple areas where livestock sector can benefit a lot by application of modern digital tools. Another area, which again very important from Assam perspective, organic foods. It has always been a sunrise industry. Unfortunately, even if at an all India, if you look at an all India level, the whole organic food sector as a whole never crossed $1 billion turnover, and we consume almost a $350 billion worth of foods. And one of the reasons for this relatively slower growth, despite a large potential, is the lack of trust between the consumer and the organic food producer. And I think that's where there's a role of technology. There are a lot of technologies now available which can make traceability very easy. You can trace the product to the farmer, and you can also get certification on food safety, food quality, the nutritional profile of the food. So I think that's where I see that this whole organic food space can transform. These new tools can help build that trust which is missing between the farmer and the consumer, and can also open up opportunity for exports. A lot of Indian exports were rejected because of high MRL content, because of high pesticide content. And I think with adoption of new technologies, we can control that a lot. And Assam can definitely take a lead. I think Assam is very well positioned to serve Southeast Asia, which is emerging as a large market. When during COVID time, Singapore was looking to import food from India. And there are many other nations who want to look at India as a import destination for them. And I think Assam is very well placed in that context to serve markets in Southeast Asia, especially. So I just want to conclude by saying that this is a very, very important program. I would sincerely urge the team to look at more from a strategic perspective. And Mr. Sessions rightly put it, we shouldn't see it as a contract. It's a very, very important program. We should look at it as a partnership to support and catalyze agri-tech ecosystem and produce success stories. It's not about numbers. It's not about 100 or 200 startups. Produce success story. Each success story can inspire many more entrepreneurs, right, in time to come. And I'll be very, very happy. I'm very confident we'll have 10,000 agri-tech startups in maybe another 7 to 10 years. I'll be delighted if we can get at least 1,000 startups from Assam and other northeastern state, and which I think is a possibility given the potential that the state has. So with that, I would like to thank all the organizers and wish the entire team a lot of success in this program. I'm personally committed to make this happen. So please feel free to reach out to me for any help that I can provide to make this program a huge success. Once again, thanks and best wishes to all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed an insightful speech as on how agriculture and allied sectors play a major role in shaping India's economy. Now, we shall start the panel discussion. Topic for today's discussion is Agri-Enterprise Ecosystem in Assam. The panel will be moderated by Afrin Rahman Mohammed. He is currently the entrepreneurship specialist in Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab program. He has worked with several prestigious organizations like the New Zealand Ministry of Agriculture and other primary industries like International Organic Accreditation Services, Saudi Amodi Group Company, Hans Wettis Australasia, and more. His areas of professional expertise are primary agricultural production, organic agriculture, food safety and food processing, and quality system development for market access. Entrepreneurs participating in panel discussions are Dr. Priyanshu Manav Sharma, Mr. Nilam Kolita, and Mr. Manas Kolita and Mr. Nilam Dotto. Now, let me give a brief introduction on those the panelists participating in the discussion. Dr. Priyanshu Manav Sharma is the founder of Innotech Agro Posticum Private Limited. He left his regular job in 2016 to form a startup working in the area of biological waste and wastewater management in petroleum sector. After reaching a revenue stage, he formed another startup in 2018, Innotech, which focuses on fortifications of mushrooms with vitamin D. Currently, he is working to scale up the production of vitamin D and hence mushrooms through farmer clusters. The other guest among with us is Mr. Manas Kalita from Peaches, the founder of Peaches. Manas Kalita started Sayuri Farms with an aim to fill the gap of unorganized meat sector to a farm-to-fork model. Having started with 5 pigs as a beginning to his journey, he ended up with a pig breeding farm. Later, to achieve the farm-to-fork model, they opened hygienic meat stores in the city, with an objective to provide clean and hygienic meat buying experiences to the unorganized meat market under the brand name of Peaches. The other speaker among us is Nilam Dotto, the founder of Papoi Greens. Nilam Dotto is a successful entrepreneur from Assam with an efficient, integrated farming setup. The firm is currently engaged in fisheries, including both farming and breeding of fish, organic farming, dairy, duckery, vermicompost, paddy cultivation, nursery for plants, biopesticides, and organic seed production. This organization also provides organic farming consultancy to major tea garden groups like McLeod Russell, Lakshmi Tea, WWF, Aranyak Tata Trust, WTI, etc. Now, I will request Mohammed Sir to take over the session.
Hello. Yeah. Thanks a lot for the introduction. What I'll do is Neelam on the screen? I'll ask the technical people to put Neelam Bhatta. He's not there on the video. Neelam, if you could switch on your video, that'll be good.
Am I visible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Thank you, Neelam.
Yeah.
So Neelam will be online from Vishwanath from his own farm, and so let's start the process. So initially, I just wanted to ask, we'll have 3 rounds of questions and answers amongst the panelists. And initially, I will just ask from each one of you to spend around 1 or 2 minutes introducing yourself and answer the question, why entrepreneurship? Was it out of necessity or by choice? Can we start with Neelam, who is online?
Yes. Hello, everyone. So you have a very good question.
Can you put the sound on for Neelam, please?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. So Afrin has put up a very good question. Is this by choice or, so my say on that will be yes. I have choose agriculture as not by default, but by choice. And I'm very happy being doing it. And the biggest problem that we are facing currently is we always look for, we always try, or we always have that kind of intuition of a problem, or we never ask for a solution. So we wanted to get into the roots of the solution and wanted to do and bring some sustainable change into our ecosystem, whether it may be our society, our environment, our health, etc. Yes. Afrin. Yes. Back to the host.
Organized sector, and I saw a lot of opportunity in that. As when you change the unorganized sector to a organized sector, the elimination of the middlemen and making money out of it for the farmers and also for the architects. So that's the way we started, having an idea and then could see the changes in the market. So then that's the way it started. Thank you.
Bench researcher. That's how I started my career as a scientist, if I may use that word. But then I was also fortunate to working in an organization where we did technology transfers, and we also did a couple of the technologies that we had found in the lab or we had developed in the lab. We had actually commercialized it, which was not very common in India at that point of time. Though there are a lot of similar kind of activities. In foreign universities, where I went to my job, I saw a lot of spin-offs in that point of time. That was the word. Startup was sometime later than very common. But then most university professors, they had spin-offs. But then when I came back, when I was working in my previous organization, we did a lot of technology transfers. Then we formed a joint venture company in India as well as one in abroad. So with that experience, we thought that why not to move into. Can you hear me now? Yeah. So as I was talking about my previous, when I was working in my previous organization, we had done a couple of technology transfers, and also we had formed joint venture companies. Now with that experience, I thought that why not to start something on my own. So I left my regular job, as it was pointed out when I was giving my introduction, and I started off a venture over here in Assam. So it was basically by choice, and it was that point where the startup ecosystem was just coming up. So we actually, there were many people who thought that we will be taking up entrepreneurship, but then the things are not that conducive, perhaps 10 years back. But then the kind of initiatives that going up, I thought it was the right time to get that. So that's how I left my regular job and started with.
Thanks a lot, Priyanshu. I'll start a question with to Neelam. So, Neelam, I just wanted to ask you regarding you started with a mixed farming, organic farming, and now you are also into production of inputs, basically organic seeds for the market. How are you looking at expanding your horizon, whether you are going for B2B marketing or B2C marketing? Can you please elaborate on your expansion plan, and why do you think this is a good venture to be in?
Right now, we are doing both B2B and B2C. B2C is our more priority sector. We focused on producing organic seeds because there's a big hue and cry on organic all over the country, all over the world. But no one wants to put their heart and soul on producing seeds, which is the toughest thing. And I believe that seed brings the whole sovereignty issue into the forefront. So seed also brings fertilizers and chemicals. And with the advent of F1 hybrids and genetically engineered seeds, we have lost all our dependency on seeds, and indirectly we are becoming more dependent on chemical fertilizers and many other things, and also health issues. So we are focusing right now on our R&D on producing and breeding our own capable seeds for our environment, basically for Southeast Asian countries. And we really want, maybe in 20 years down the line, wanted to become the benchmark in organic seeds movement in this part of the world.
Excellent. Thanks, Neelam. Manas, with regards to your venture, you are concentrating on quality of your food, basically hygiene and other aspects. You're also processing, I believe. So, could you please elaborate on your expansion plan, and what are your main, like in terms of B2B or B2C, what are you concentrating on, and why do you think it's a good venture to be in?
We started then we thought after realized we saw a bit gap in the market for hygienic ratios and meat market, which is very unorganized. Then we came up with the idea of having hygienic shops, and then and also value addition of the product, not only selling meat, but also meat products. How could we do value to it and get the maximum out of it as it is the holistic approach. Then over the time now, what I have realized is that is not a scalable model as of yet, because it's a brick and mortar model where a lot of investments are required. But now with the pandemic coming into view and consumers' behavior has also changed, we want products to be delivered at the doorstep at the convenience. So now I think it's the perfect time to go for the online transition. It's the right time for us. In fact, to point it out right now, we will be launching our own dedicated app for meat delivery. That is the first of its kind meat delivery app for a company using the farm to fork model. I think that's the only company in the Northeast which is doing it. So we are planning to launch this in the coming 8th of July. That is the part of the B2C model. But for us, B2B model is also very important because that is also a major part of the revenue. And that is the part of the scene which creates the maximum consumptions are required, and a lot of demands are there to be met, in which the local farmers come into picture. Right, then some farmer producer companies can be involved, bio products can be also used, and so B2C for us is also a major segment for us. As of now, because of the pandemic situation, we have got a bigger hit because our B2C model has been totally come to a standstill. So that's the goal. I mean, we cannot ignore the B2B model also and B2C model also. For us, as an integrated farm, both are equally important to us.
Thanks, thanks, Manas. In terms of Priyanshu, you told me that your market for mushroom was basically currently you are getting your maximum sale from Delhi, direct to the consumers there. And you are also concentrating on some B2B by producing mushroom top powder and other things. So in terms of B2C, you are also producing spawns for the farmers which are quality response. So what are your expansion plans in terms of B2B and B2C, uh, taking into consideration Assam as a market and as well as India or for exports? Thanks. We started off with a very typical model of producing mushrooms ourselves with the technology that we have developed, enhancing the quality of mushroom as well as we have enhanced it with vitamin D, and that was the USP that we started off. But then when we thought of scaling it up, we realized that if we start focusing on all the aspects like production, quality issues, that. So it's a model a bit where we started with farmer producer groups as well as the quality which we are looking into. And so which as such. So obviously it becomes quite difficult. Logistics was an issue. But then we moved into the you can call it as B2C in fact, because we started tying up with aggregators who are already into say organic produce or say fruits and vegetables. They have a supply chain with them, so we started tying up with them, and that's the model we tried to do it in Delhi, and it was largely successful. And once we had sort of got some hold on that, we were trying to replicate the same model in different parts, in different metro cities particularly. And then for bulk production and for the B2C, we thought sorry B2B, we thought of the other products of like dried mushrooms, then powdering the mushrooms and then selling it to certain who are producing nutritional bars. There are a couple of companies who are into fortified food who require sources of vitamin D, which are organic sources of vitamin D. So that's where we are basically now targeting. So that's how we have tied up with the farmers who will be giving us the kind of produce that we want. And then we have a kind of a buyback with them. Once the quality is assured, the technology is ours. We do the hand holding and get the produce from them, dry it, powder it, and send it as to our B2B customers. So that's how we are sort of scaling up the process. Thank you. Okay, Sukunshu. Now the last round of questions. How do you see, Milan, can we start with you again? How the current entrepreneurship space in Assam as well as in India, and how do you place yourself in that space and the growth of that space? The sound needs to come.
Hello. Yes. Afrin, I didn't hear the question properly.
Entrepreneurship space in Assam, and how do you plan, how do you see yourself in that space and growth of that space in Assam, the entrepreneurship space?
There is a big demand, but the environment is not that conducive enough, because if you see, like if I take my own example, I took a bank credit from a bank which never wanted to give me the bank credit on my entrepreneurial venture, which is production of organic seeds. So I have to anyhow siphon the money, writing a different proposal for my startup, which is production of organic seeds. So this is something which we have to address in the long term too. And second, there is hardly any social funding and as such in the entire Northeast arena. So there are many other issues which can be addressed, and I think apart from venture capitalists, I think the institutions, government bodies like Area Society, or like NetFi, NABARD, or whoever, like like you should also trust us. There are VCs who wanted stake, and right now we are not for profit organization till now. So we are not doing any profit till the moment. So the problem is they think that we should give them a bigger stake in the company so that they will make us compelled to make money and make it viable in the long term. And also there's another thing is there is hardly any benchmark on where we should go and learn and how we should do our things apart from our technical thing, because finances, technical management and marketing, all those are a big hurdle that we have to face. Yes.
I hope, Neelam, we can, as this program can resolve some of your issues that you are facing, and which is, I think, faced by a lot of entrepreneurs in Assam. So I hope we can step in and help you in some of those areas, especially getting your relationship your relationship with finance institutes, or if you need to get your DPR done, we can probably get it done through the program, or in terms of your pitching of your business plan to a venture capitalist or to other funding agencies. We could provide you a mentoring session so that you could probably pitch that in a better way. So I hope we will be able to help you in that direction. The same question for Manas. How do you see the entrepreneurship space and your position in it, and that space moving forward?
Entrepreneurship, and this is the next in thing maybe in the market, to be said. It's the new, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, but this is not something new. People have been doing that since ages, but now they've got a term of doing it, a name to do it. That is, honestly, is that. Secondly, I believe, as Neelam said, it's all the help and all the guiding is required in the initial part. I believe finance are a very important thing, but before that, mentoring, I guess, is the most important thing. Because when we are new into the market, what we are in a sense of no direction. Let's say we have a product, we have an idea. Okay, let's say I know I do value addition of meat, but what do I do with that? So for me, it was like no, only thing we could do is we could see our competitors, learn what they're doing, try to gauge if it's working for them or not, and then inculcating, and then if it's working for us also or not. So that's also required, and it's the mentoring part. And it's also important that you choose the right mentor also. I mean, that right mentor should be synced with your goals, you as a person, and where you want to reach in the next 5 years or 10 years. That is also one of the, I believe that is the most important part, the mentoring part. And then definitely the finances. That's definitely the finances, because if the finances to begin with, only then you need the help. After, let's say, you break even or you start generating revenue, then banks do come into play. But initially, bank just ask you to show me a balance sheet if it's going to profitability or not. So that's the basic 2 points. Rest, as an entrepreneur, you should be ready to, go into any suit, right? And the constant motivation is always required. So one day will be ready, one day has to be shiny. So you have to do that. So that's there. Definitely, mentorship is very important, and we will have a panel of mentors, and based on what type of entrepreneurs are getting on board, we will be able to help them. For example, in case of Neelam, we might be able to help him connect with World Veg. Dr. Arvind is here, he's sitting there. So he will be able to provide him some assistance in the organic seed production part. Then in your case, probably we can connect you to Lifton and other specialists who can provide you the perfect direction for your business. Priyanshu, can you expand on that? Sure. In fact, I believe most of the points have been covered by Neelam and Manas. Being an entrepreneur obviously is a challenge, and particularly when you come in as a choice, because you leave your regular job and you are sort of you start off, and that particularly also in this part of the country. I was slightly fortunate because I still have my links back in Delhi. We haven't closed down our links in Delhi. Though with a very specific focus, we started off in Assam. Uh, uh, the ecosystem, I believe, over here is still developing, but then we require very specific inputs, perhaps, because most of us, when we start, we don't even know how much to ask. That's also something, very important at times. When we don't even know which whether we should go to, and in fact, a couple of terms where it was quite foreign to us when we started. Angel investors, difference between who's an angel, the VC, and stuff like that. I think those kind of handholding obviously is required. Sometimes we don't even know who to, we end up pitching it to a very different person who's not interested, and we think that our idea was not good. Many times it happens with us also. When we started, they were talking about again another term called ticket size, which they used to very commonly use. It was much bigger than what we were expecting. So when they had asked us to develop a proposal of that ticket size, we didn't even knew at that point of time. I don't know, we don't require that kind of money. So, and perhaps and now on the hindsight, we thought that we actually had perhaps, if we had asked if someone would have helped us, that was the money actually which was required, not the, small grants of 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, which, we finally got. That didn't lend us anywhere. Perhaps, at that point of time, when if we had have got that kind of a mentorship where they would have told us that, okay, you will be requiring this money, but not now. But if you plan it out, this is where the money will actually be requiring. I think we lost a couple of opportunities then. But then I think it's a learning experience, obviously, and with the kind of the inputs which you are now bringing in with the growth lab as well as Assam startup, I believe things will be much better for our fellow entrepreneurs, and we look forward for those kind of entrepreneurship. Like, I think every venture will be different, so we would be requiring a different kind of inputs. And most of the, I was a part of a couple of assimilation programs where it's like very uniform kind of a thing. You get similar kind of a mentorship, similar kind of it doesn't work out. In fact, I left a couple of programs because of that. I thought this is not for me finally. But then if it was slightly, it's good to hear that you are very specifically focusing 25. And if you really focus on this 25 in a manner that what they require, I think we will definitely see some success stories. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Pranshu. And I think that is one thing that we as a program have to be very careful about. We need to tailor the program based on the cohort that we get. And within the cohort also, there has to be some specialized program for specialized businesses, enterprises. So definitely. Now, just wanted to ask the audience if somebody has any questions, then possibly we could you could answer. Dr. Alvin. Can you please help, please?
Okay, thank you very much. I have heard the things that 100 enterprises is a planned target. My focus is that when we are working in a part project, as I have seen that our focus is small farmers. When I think of small farmer, for me enterprise, if I think for the enterprise, one thing comes in my mind is the FIG and FPC. There is one thing, if you are supporting individual enterprises, there is this is one thing. But if under a part project, if we can focus on FIG and FPC concept, and that too, generally we take agribusiness as the farm-gate micro enterprises. My objective is that along with the farm-gate micro enterprises, if we can focus on on-farm input production, thing is that as I am working in world wage, I'm finding that technologies are nice, but sometimes we find that it is quite difficult to have the inputs. They are not having access to the enriched vermicompost. Say, cocoa pit. So in such condition, even though the technologies were good, but thing is that until and unless there is access to the inputs, we are not going to get a substantial output in the agribusiness. So if we can think of some of the enterprises which can work on the on-farm input production. So my aim will be that if it can be done, then I am saying it will go especially to the small farmers. My focus is small farmers, and I am finding there is gap. So if it can be done, and thing is that if we can do this, if we have a farmers intergroup approach by having a by clubbing FIGs into FPCs. Now, if we can go for collection center, and collection center can act as a marketing hub, where we can invite the buyer. So, in general, when we talk of agribusiness start when farmer who has actually produced the thing, they can say that what will be the price of it. In general, it is the buyer who decide what will be the cost, and this is not agribusiness. The time when the farmer will start, the bargaining capacity of the farmer, when it will increase, then the real sense the agribusiness initiation will start. So I think if we can start from very small, like in collection center, this can act as a marketing hub. We can invite buyers, they can come, and at that point, if we can do sorting, grading, and everything, and at that point, if one buyer say, okay, I will pay for this produce, say, for example, rupees 10, other will say, I will pay rupees 12. So this at this stage, because of collection center and marketing hub, we are trying to make the bargaining capacity of the farmer more. And once this will be achieved, I think this will be the real agribusiness for me. So my objective for this thing is if we can focus on the on-farm input production along with the micro enterprise.
Yeah, basically we have Nima who's producing the producing on-farm inputs is one of the enterprises. Now, our goal will be how to expand his reach and expand his market. And the thing that you are pointing to, that the farmers should determine the market price. I think that is very difficult unless and until you don't have more buyers than farmers. Then farmers determining the price becomes very difficult. So the market price is final price is always market driven. So either the farmers have to produce very niche products where there are consumers that need that product. For example, in case of Manas, he's producing hygienic food. He will have customers who will buy from his because they are assured of a particular quality of the product. Yeah, and you get that that type of consumers. In case of Priyanshu also, he's producing vitamin D enhanced mushrooms. So for him also, he can get that niche market. For example, he's doing some B2B marketing where he's getting customers that require powdered mushrooms for their ultimate products that needs vitamin D enhancement in their food. So either through niche marketing, niche products and quality assured products, you could get that extra price that you need for your produce. But as a general thing, I think the number of buyers have to go up compared to the suppliers. So it's all demand and supply thing, and that needs to be I think cultivated.
But just to add one point, we are talking about agribusiness. Agribusiness is all about efficient supply chain management, number one. Number two, it is all about creating viable marketing linkages. So I think if we get to the point that we are not having much buyer, this is not the case. We have to create it. We have to create the linkages.
Absolutely. We have to create that.
Yeah. This is the main chunk of agribusiness, I think. We generally, I'm saying that
no need to go for much thing. I am saying that if we can sell the fresh produce only, there is scope. Thing is that we have to think for the alternative marketing linkages, and this is all agribusiness, and focus has to be laid on this one. If we can do this, I'm saying that really, I'm saying that the small farmer will get the benefit. My objective is, apart project is all about small farmer. So thing is that if we are thinking of FIG, talking FIG, making FIG is very easy, but making a good FIG is very tough. My objective is that if we can make the farmers, means why farmers will add to the FIG, until and unless they will get any benefit of adding to that FIG. So we have to think the number of ways so the members can get attracted to the FIG and FPC concept. But this thing I'm talking about.
So we'll lead entrepreneurs like Manas who are going to connect with these FIGs or FPCs to buy quality products, and we can guide them to produce those quality products for the market. In that case, I think he will be also benefited and they will be also benefited. Fine. So same with, I think, Neelam as well as same with Priyanshu. Thank you. So we'll take one more question. Yeah, please.
So the first and foremost,
your name and
I am Dr. Madhumita Saikia. I am attending this, but it seems a little bit unconventional to the way of agribusiness or something like that, because mostly I grow herbs, herbs that is hibiscus, coconut, and bhatua, and then even pudina and all that kind of things. And that is my first question. Will I be entitled to be in your arena? That is first. Second question is, I produce, out of these things, I produce not edible food, but skin food and hair food. Am I viable for that? Because I have the market. I have market, but I am lacking behind is the market demand. I have more, but I am not being able to supply as the demand and orders are with me. And first of all, I have left my government job and I am into this. So I am really interested that if I am viable, if I am actually can be included in your program, then I will be sticking. Otherwise, I would just go back to my production and try to gear up my whatever in future financing or whatever it is from other sources.
See, number one, you are producing from agri products.
Yes.
So from that point of view, you are already eligible for the program. It doesn't matter whether you are producing food or food for your hair or your skin. So you are eligible because you are into agri-allied sector anyway. So from next, it will depend upon what type of business you are doing, and we will help you in determining that. And we'll have a one-to-one session with you, and then we cannot guarantee whether you will be in the first cohort or second cohort, but we'll guide you in a way so that you get a direction. So either the first or second or third within the 4 cohorts, you will be there. We'll guide you through that.
That means I will be learning from you. That is a very good thing.
Yeah.
And I really would like that.
Yeah.
Secondly, I really like your FIG food. Since 2019, I've been taking it, and actually it's very good because it helps me in what you say in time and all in managing my time. And secondly, another question is for you, sir. There is one particular product in mushroom that is known as lion's lure. It is very, very good, beneficial for skin because it has got a lot of antibodies, and it is very much beneficial as an anti-aging thing. I would like it in serum form and in powder form, but I know the growing and the cultivation process is a very tough thing. So if you can provide me in per harvest, I am ready to buy from you 25 kg to 50 kg.
Actually, that's the whole issue. Lion's mane is one of the most expensive mushrooms, and it's one of the most difficult one to produce. In fact, in India, there is no one who is doing lion's mane right now. So yeah, we have moved into a couple of different mushrooms. Like we are doing shiitake, we are doing portobellos, we are doing cordyceps also to some extent. But then these are very difficult and tough mushrooms to cultivate in the lab. So yeah, but then I can definitely get you connected to people who are.
You're the market over here. You're the buyer.
We are aware of because even for cordyceps also there are a lot of even for shiitake to that matter.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, there are a couple of mushrooms which are very difficult to grow in the lab conditions or artificial conditions. We're looking into it, in fact.
Because I have got demand for it.
Definitely.
So if you provide me the key ingredient, I will be producing anti-aging creams and serum and also anti-aging other things.
So basically, what you can connect after the program and see.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we'll end our panel discussion now. And after this, there will be a vote of thanks. Nitin will be giving the Nitin Singh from Apart will be giving the vote of thanks. Thanks a lot for everybody for listening patiently to the panelists here. Neelam, thanks a lot for being there. I hope we'll be able to connect soon. We might come over to Cowboy Greens and have a personal discussion.
Point to address. May I?
Thank all the panel members for taking out time for this discussion. Now, I would like to request Sri Nitin Singh of Apart to deliver the vote of thanks.
As we have come to the close of inauguration of Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab launch, it is my pleasure to deliver word of thanks on behalf of Area Society, Apart Project, to all who have helped to make this event a grand success. In the beginning, I would like to thank Shri Vinod Sachin, State Project Director, Area Society. He has been a source of strength and guidance behind strategizing this initiative. Thank you, sir, for all the support, and we assure him that under his guidance and leadership, the program will achieve new frontiers of success. Our project is a conglomerate of several departments and organizations. I convey my sincere thanks to all the officials, head of the departments, representatives of CGIAR institutes associated with the Apart project for attending this event. We hope that AAGL program will provide an effective platform for enabling the stakeholders associated with the Apart project towards fostering and accelerating growth of agri-processing sector. I would like to place my hearty thanks to entrepreneurs, industry representatives for the strength of this program. I show my deepest appreciation to all of you who made it to this event. I would like to thank Shri Hemendra Mathur, venture partner, Bharat Innovation Foundation, for sharing his perspective on investment in agri and allied sector. I wish to also thank our esteemed panelists, Priyanshu, Neelam, and Manas for discussing the issues and possible solution for development of agri-enterprise ecosystem in Assam. Thank you for such informative discussion. I thank all the participants who have joined us virtually. I believe that this event has certainly provided you an insight into the Assam Agribusiness Growth Lab program. My sincere thanks to the print and electronic media for their presence and their positive coverage of the event. We hope that information on the AAGL program reaches the wider public. I would indeed be failing in my duty if I do not express our gratitude to the administrative officer, all the team members of Area Society, without whose help this event would not have taken off. Lastly, my thanks are due to the Apart team of Center of Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship, CIICO and ICCSPL,
who have worked with great dedication to make this program a success. On behalf of areas and on my own behalf, a deep appreciation for the entire team of CICO and ICCSPL for their support and encouragement. Once again, we thank you for being with us. We sincerely look forward to emerge as a comprehensive program aimed towards enabling agri-enterprise ecosystem in Assam. Thank you.
Just wait. These are being point persons. All our discussions. So we'll just like to felicitate Dipen. Vinny, please. Please canteen there. I think we might have got the cooking for that. So please, lunch is being served. Just behind, just